Welcome back, dear students and friends. We were discussing chapter number 4, Biotechnology, Principles and the Processes. In this, till now we have finished regarding the definition of biotechnology, principles of biotechnology, and one of the tools which is required in this biotechnology or genetic engineering, that is restriction enzyme. Today we are going to start with another tool that is required in this biotechnology or the genetic engineering. The name of a tool, it's called as cloning vector. Clear? We are going to start with the next tool that is required into a genetic engineering. It's a cloning vector. So who can act as a vector? There are the main two components which can act as a vector. The first one is plasmid. This is the first one, and the second one is the bacteriophage. Okay, these are the two words which can act as a vector. Which to act as a vector? I am again writing. Who can act as a vector? The plasmid, and the second one it's called as a bacteriophage that can act as a vector. But what is the difference between them? The plasmid are only able to generate the low copy numbers. How many copy numbers? Low copy numbers are going to be produced. Means when these clones are going to be produced, when it gets replicated, low copy numbers are going to be produced. But the bacteriophage, they are responsible for generating the high copy numbers. Clear? Low copy number means how many copy numbers it can generate? It can generate just 1 to 2 copy per cell. How many copies it generate? 1 to 2 copy per cell it can generate. And the high copy number means it can generate how much? It is a 15 to 100 copy per cell. They are going to be produced. Okay. So these are the two examples which can act as a vector. The first one you can call it as a plasmid, and the second one you can call it as bacteriophage. Both can act as a cloning vector, and they have a different characteristic. Now, ideally, we are discussing regarding the cloning vector. The cloning vector should be such a that it is easily linked with a foreign DNA, and it is easily generate the high copy numbers. So depending on your requirements, you have to select this cloning vector. Okay, either the plasmid or the bacteriophage. Now this cloning vector should have a certain features. This cloning vector should have a certain features to qualify it as a cloning vectors. So we are discussing now what are the features that are required by the cloning vector to behave as a cloning vector. Okay, so let's discuss the features of a cloning vector. So one of the first feature that is required by the cloning vector is its origin of replication. Okay, so here what it requires? It requires origin of replication. The first requirement is called as origin of replication, shortly called as ORR. You studied regarding this origin of replication. Origin of replication, that means the sequences from which replication gets starts. Okay, it's a sequence from which a replication process starts. So here these are the DNA sequences. Here these are the DNA sequences from which the replication process starts. Now to clone this DNA or to clone this recombinant DNA or to make the copies of this DNA or to replicate it, the foreign DNA should link with this origin of replication. Because from this sequence the replication start. Copy thawanu અહીંથી ચાલુ થાય છે. So whatever the DNA or foreign DNA that is introduced, that should link with this origin of replication, and that's why the vector should possess this origin of replication. Those sequences which are able to generate the high copy numbers, obviously they generate a very high cloning sites, and so this is going to be happen. So depending on your requirement, you have to choose. But the vector should have an origin of replication. Its function is to start the replication. Even one of the other function of this origin of replication is that it also controls the copy number. These are the sequences which also control the copy numbers. So we should select in a such a way that the high copy numbers are going to be produced. Okay, so this is the first requirement that we can see in the cloning vector. The second requirement, it's, you can say that the selectable markers. The second requirement that should be present is the selectable markers. What is the function of this selectable markers? The function of this selectable marker is to identify and eliminate the non-transformant. What they do, I am again repeating, they identify and eliminate the non-transformant, and they also identify the transformant and allow it to grow. Means those bacteria in which the change has been done, they are allowed to grow. And those bacteria in which the change is not there, then they are going to be identified and eliminated from the genetic engineering process. So this is the function of the selectable marker. Selectable markers are used to identify and eliminate. It's identify and eliminate non-transformant. Non-transforming means in which the change has not been done, and they go for selective growth of. They go for the selective growth of transformant. They allow the selective growth of a transformant. Means this transformant bacteria will easily grow, and this is the purpose of the selectable markers. What is a transformant? Transformation means it's a process in which there is a change in the DNA sequences occur. This is called as transformation. Okay, what is called as a transformation? Transformation, that is a change that occurs in the DNA sequences, and the recombinant DNA is going to be formed. This is called as a transformation process. Normally, who can act as a selectable markers? Usually, we are selecting the genes. They are resistant to antibiotics like ampicillin, tetracycline, kanamycins. They are going to be selected against this. So it's an antibiotic resistance gene are selected for selectable markers. They are selected for selectable markers. They can act as a selectable markers. Like which antibiotic resistance gene? Ampicillin. These are the name of antibiotic. Their resistance gene has been selected over there as a selectable marker. So ampicillin, kanamycin, tetracycline or amikacin. This antibiotic resistance gene can be developed for, or they can act as a selectable marker. Okay, so we have discussed the two requirements which are required by cloning vector: the origin of replications, that is the sequence from which the replication starts. Even it can also decides the copy numbers. So the foreign DNA should link with this origin of replication to make it replicate. Okay, and the second requirement is the selectable markers. These selectable markers, they identify and eliminate the non-transformant, and they selectively allow the growth of a transformant. Transformation process means a process in which there is a change occurs. Barabar che? Clear? So this is called as a transformation. And here antibiotic resistance gene, they can act as a selectable marker. Like antibiotic resistance again, ampicillin, kanamycin, tetracycline and the amikacin, they can act as selectable markers. So these are the first two requirements which we have discussed. Okay. Now we are going ahead with the third requirement. Okay, this is called as cloning sites. Third requirement of a cloning vector is the cloning site. The first one is origin of replication. The second one is selectable marker. The third requirement is called as a cloning site. So let us discuss regarding the cloning site. But before discussing this cloning site, you should know that one of the plasmid of an E. coli, that is called as PBR322. I will explain you this with plasmid of E. coli or cloning vector PBR322. This is called as, this is a structure of PBR322. Okay, PCO2, always write like this, PBR322, it's a plasmid. Here you know that this is a vector, so it requires a number of things. Like first thing, it requires the ORI. This is a DNA base, origin of replication, blank. Then here it's a, this one is called as ampicillin resistance gene, which is denoted as AMPR. AMPR means ampicillin resistance gene. And what this ampicillin resistance gene contains? It contains PST1 and PBU1 cloning sites. Which cloning sites are present? PST1 and the PBU1. Now this one, the next one, the next portion, you can say that it contains the 3 cloning sites. Like you can say that it is, but before I start that, I will tell you the important one. This is a tetracycline resistance gene. It contains the 2 sites, 2 cloning sites. The first one is called as BAMH1 and the next is called as SAL1. Okay, these are the 2 cloning sites are present. Okay, next is called as like this one. It contains the cloning site called as PBU2. PBU1 is over here. It contains a PBU2. It's called as ROP. ROP means it is a proteins which are required in the replication process. So this is a structure of a PBR322 which was obtained from the E. coli bacteria. I am again repeating, what is the structure of PBR322? It's very important. There are few MCQs are going to be asked. Okay, so at the first instance it's look like a complicated, but it's easy. Like first you have to remember, obviously the cloning vector has a ORI, means origin of replication, because without that the replication process does not occur. Then there is a blank. Then there is an ampicillin resistance gene which contains 2 cloning sites, PST1, PBU1. Then there is again cloning sites, but that we will discuss later. Then the tetracycline resistance gene, it contains 2 cloning sites. It is a BAMH1 and the SAL1. Then again blank. Then there is another called as ROP that contains one more cloning site called as PBU2. Okay, so these are the few things which are present over here. Now this one, it also contains the cloning site. Which cloning sites are present? It contains HIND3. It also contains a CLAY1. These are the sites which are present over here. Okay, these are called as a recognition site or the cloning sites. So here they should have a cloning sites. So these sites, these cloning sites or the recognition sites, from where the DNA is going to be cut and it's ligated with a foreign DNA. It's joined with a foreign DNA. So what the thing, usually the cloning vector should have a cloning site. It should have the cloning site. But the cloning site should be minimum. बराबर कितनी होनी चाहिए? Minimum, because whatever the cloning site is that, the restriction enzyme, they identify these cloning sites or these recognition sites and cut the DNA from this portion. तो જેટલી વધારે sites હશે એટલા વધારે fragments form થશે, એટલા વધારે piece form થશે. And when there are lots of pieces are going to be formed, obviously this genetic engineering process becomes a complicated. Clear? So it should have that's why it should have a cloning site and it should have a minimum cloning site. So the minimum number one is a 1. Okay, so it should have a 1 cloning site. Okay, if it has a more than 1 cloning site, obviously as the number of cloning site increases, the number of fragments are going to be produced in a more quantity. And when the number of fragments are produced in the more quantity, the process, it becomes a complicated. Clear? So this is, it requires a cloning site. Now see that here, for example, I am saying that we are using the enzyme called as restriction enzymes to cut it. We are using the common restriction enzymes which are usually used to identify the common recognition site. Okay, so how does it work? Let's see. So this restriction enzyme, just for an example, assume that it cut the DNA from this recognition site. It recognized this one, BAMH1. Okay, and it cut the DNA and introduced the foreign DNA over here. Introduce the foreign DNA over here. So here the foreign DNA is introduced. Clear? I am again repeating. The restriction enzyme, what we are using in this process, this is just for example, we are using a common restriction enzymes which are recognizing the cloning sites and cutting. So this restriction enzyme, just for assume that it recognizes this site BAMH1 and it introduces the foreign DNA over here. Now when the foreign DNA has been introduced, this resistance to a tetracycline, this is a tetracycline resistance gene, but કંઈક નવી વસ્તુ એડ થઈ, obviously its structure gets changed and this portion, this plasmid, it lose a resistance against a tetracycline. Means it lose the resistance against tetracycline means now it is killed by the tetracycline antibiotic. Tetracycline resistance means so, tetracycline resistance means it is not able to killed by tetracycline. Tetracycline is an antibiotic. જ્યારે આ પ્રેઝન્ટ હોય ત્યારે એ ટેટ્રાસાયક્લિન થી કિલ ના થાય. When this is present, ampicillin R is present, it's an ampicillin resistance gene, it is not killed by ampicillin, okay, antibiotic. But here we are inserting this foreign DNA over here at the BAMH1 cloning site. So obviously its structure gets altered. When the structure gets altered, here the tetracycline resistance is also changed. Now that can be affected by this tetracycline. So here this is acting as a selectable markers. Okay, here due to this the bacteria can be killed into a tetracycline bacteria, a tetracycline plated medium. It's killed by tetracycline plated medium. Killed. I am showing the sign killed, but it is not killed in an ampicillin plated bacteria. Clear? So those bacteria in which a change occur. Change કેવી રીતે કર્યો? We have cut this with the help of restriction site. Suppose assume that we have cut it over here, BAMH1. So they are not killed. They are killed by tetracycline and not killed by ampicillin. Not killed. I am showing by present. So change આયો એમાં શું થયો? Means those who are the bacteria which are transformant. જેમાં change આયો, we are calling it as transformant. તો એમાં ટેટ્રાસાયક્લિન થી કિલ થઈ ગયા અને એમ્પિસિલિન થી survive થાય છે. Clear? Or ampicillin is not affecting them. But those bacteria which are not transformed, કે જેમાં કોઈ change નહીં આવે, એ કેસમાં શું થશે? Change નહીં આવે means ampicillin is also not affected. Means ampicillin is not killing. Even the tetracycline is not also killing because here this is remain same. It is not cut. So here the non-transformant will survive with both antibiotics. So this is acting as a selectable markers. જેનાથી આપણને ખબર પડે કે શેમાં ચેન્જ આવ્યો છે, which are the transformant and which are the non-transformant. If it is a transformant, then it is killed by tetracycline and not killed by ampicillin. And जो change नहीं आया हो, if it is a non-transformant, means it is not killed by any of the antibiotic. Means it survived in both the antibiotics. So this is a process by which we are using the selectable markers. So ultimate point is that it should have a cloning site, should have a minimum cloning site like a 1. So જેટલી ઓછી હશે એટલા ઓછા fragments અથવા piece form થશે and that will easier. અને જેટલે વધારે ક્લોનિંગ સાઇટ્સ હશે then એટલા વધારે pieces અથવા fragments form થશે and that complicate the process. So this is acting as a cloning vector. But if you see this process, simultaneous plating and so on, this selectable marker process is too much complicated. બરાબર છે? It is a too much complicated, too much cumbersome process. બરાબર છે? Clear? So that's why the new selectable marker technique has been developed. Okay? In which it is based on the chromogenic substance. Chromogenic substance means the substance which are capable of giving a color. They are called as a chromogenic substance. બરાબર છે? So here we are using a chromogenic substance. If there is an insertion of a gene in the beta galactosidase, insertion of a gene in this beta galactosidase enzyme or the gene for beta galactosidase enzyme, the blue color is not produced. बराबर है, and it is very easy to observe the color compared to this, whether it has growing or not. Okay, so it is the principle is just we are observing a color, chromogenic substance we are adding. Okay, and by adding this we are making it inactive. So this kind of a method is called as insertion inactivation. तो जो बीटा गैलेक्टोसिडस ની અંદર કોઈ જીન ઇન્સર્ટ કર્યો, બરાબર છે, so that's why as we have insert કરી દીધો એટલે આ જીન, the structure of this gene has been altered, change થઈ ગયો, આ એન્ઝાઇમ બદલાઈ ગયો because we have inserted something, બરાબર છે, અને ઇન્સર્ટ થઈ ગયો એટલે આ એન્ઝાઇમ કેવો થઈ ગયો, એક્ટિવ માંથી inactive. So this is called as insertion inactivation. હવે inactive થઈ ગયો એટલે બીટા ગેલેક્ટોસિડસ which is able to produces the blue color, it produce नहीं कर, does not produces blue color. पर जो change नहीं करिए, then it is able to produces the blue color, and we can easily able to identify कि blue color છે કે blue color નથી. जो insert કર્યું છે तो blue color नहीं आवे, that means it is a change occurred, it is a transformant, बराबर. અને जो change નથી કર્યું, insert નથી કર્યું, change નથી આવ્યો, तो obviously blue color આવશે, and that we can also easily identify. So this is a easy method whether blue color is present or blue color is absent. If blue color is present means there is no change, it is a non-transformant. If blue color is not produced means it is a change, it is a transformant. So it is easy method. This is a easy method for which is acting as a selectable marker comparable to this plating method. Okay, so this is about a third requirement what the cloning vector should have. It is called as cloning site. Okay, now we are moving ahead with the fourth requirement, and this is the last requirement of a cloning vector. This is the last requirement, the fourth one. It is the cloning vector for plants and animals. Cloning vector for plants and animals. Now, before learning this, you should know that there are variety of the diseases that occurs into us by this bacteria and the viruses. We have learned this cloning vector phenomena from the viruses, because what the viruses do, I will explain you with the example of the plants. In the plants, there is a one virus which causes a disease called as which bacteria, which virus, or here it's a bacteria in case of plants, in case of animal it is virus. But we have learned this phenomena from the viruses. In the plant there is a bacteria called as Agrobacterium tunificiens. This bacteria is capable of causing the dicot plant, which plant? Dicot plant, to a cancer. It causes a cancer into a dicot plant. How? Because when this bacteria infect a plant cell, specifically dicot plant cell, okay, it converts a normal cell into a cancerous cell. Okay, similarly the same thing happens in the case of animals. In the animals there is a one virus, this one is bacteria, this is a virus. Okay, retrovirus is also causing, or it converts a normal cell into a cancerous cells. Okay, so here you see that the cells are normal, but when it is infected by either bacteria or the viruses, in plants and animals respectively, the normal cell converts into a cancerous cell. Means they are causing or they are converting into a tumor. So we can also call it as this tumor inducing. Now, how they are doing? They are doing in such a way that once this virus or the bacteria insert into a eukaryotic cell like plant and the animal, it is attached with a chromosomal DNA and it modify in such a way that the cell itself generate the assemblies which are required for conversion of a cancerous cell. So this is what happens. So we have learned this from the viruses. આપણે વાયરસ પોતાનો ડીએનએ ની અંદર ઇન્ટ્રોડ્યુસ કરી દે છે. આપણે હવે શું કર્યું? What we have done? We have done something good. We have learned it from the virus and we have introduced a good thing into a bacteria. Means we have introduced the recombinant DNA into a cell and we have removed the property which is causing this disease, cancer. જે ખરાબ પ્રોપર્ટી છે એમાંથી કાઢી લીધી and good property we have introduced. Okay, so what we have done, these are acting as a cloning vector in plants and the animals. You have to remember, tumor inducing gene of Agrobacterium tumefaciens. TI means tumor inducing tumefaciens. Clear? Here the gene which is responsible for cancer that cause that have been removed and then it is attached with it, so thus it is used to deliver a gene into a plant. Okay, similarly in case of animal, here we are using the retroviruses. So in short, you have to remember that in case of plants we are using this one, tumor inducing Agrobacterium tumefaciens, and in case of animals we are using the retroviruses as the cloning vector. Okay, so these are the features they are required by the cloning vector, which is a second requirement of genetic engineering. So till now we have discussed the two requirements, that is the restriction enzyme responsible for cutting the DNA, and the second one is a cloning vector which is required to make the copies. It is required to select the transformant over the non-transformant. Okay, so this is going to be required, and it is also used a delivery process, so that's why the recombinant DNA is transferred to another cell. Now the another cell is also required in the genetic engineering, in which we want to introduce this recombinant DNA. So here it also requires a host cell. So regarding the host cell, which is the third requirement, that we will discuss in the next session. Till then students, keep learning, keep watching, like and subscribe this channel. Thank you for watching.